The year 2020 has been a year of change. Global changes have included COVID-19 pandemic, which has resulted in us all having to change our ways, especially with traveling on a global scale. Cutting down air traffic has bound many to their place when the regulations came. The world is not as small or open anymore as it used to be. On a regional scale, there have been wildfires and other natural catastrophes. In societies, some people have demanded rights that they should have by default, more visibly than in years, and there have been demonstrations and confrontations in many places around the world. Individually, people have also gone through changes. Some have lost or quit their job, some found a new one. Some have faced economic challenges and some have overcome them. Relatives, family members and friends have passed away and babies have been born. Relationships have been broken and new have been formed. We haven't been able to see some people important to us physically, but we've been able to connect to them and many others via technology. Children have had to do learning outside of school context and stay away from their important social groups. Adults have had to learn working from home, some meanwhile helping their children in education. We all have faced changes of some kind this year, big or small. We face changes normally also, but this year it has been more rapid, more serious and more visible, and more in number and ways. My name is Jani Kontkanen and you are listening to Mitä pelataan podcast. This series is called Paragons of Change. It's a series of interviews with people from boardgaming sphere whom I've noticed going through changes in recent times. We talk about change and what they have changed in their lives. By default, we do not claim we state facts. We only talk from our own points of view and our opinions. As the discussion might take a negative note at times, we try to finish with a positive, by giving you a top 9 list of games. The topic of the list has been chosen by the guest, and we will have a battle of the lists after the episode airs in my social media channels. You, dear listener, are encouraged to comment and vote on the lists to see which one of us did better. The award is pride and fame among the small listener base this podcast has. Now, let's invite our Paragon for today. This time in the Paragons of Change series we have our 8th guest and he's from the US. Let's welcome Patrick Kelly. Welcome.
It's so good to be here. I am from the US, I'm embarrassed to say. But yes, it is so good to join you. I don't know when this thing's going to record, but who knows what's happening in the United States when you finally listen to this. We could be dissolving into a wasteland, a dystopian wasteland. So wish me luck, everybody.
This will be out probably on Halloween, actually.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
Great time.
Sounds apropos.
So, if people don't know who you are, who are you?
People don't know who I am. No, I'm kidding, of course. So I am Patrick Kelly. I am one of the founders and one of the hosts of Blue Peg, Pink Peg. And I should say, as far as people not knowing who I am, I've been off the show for about a year, and we'll probably talk about that. But yeah, I've been off the show for about a year, so there are people who listen to the show who don't know who I am. So like new listeners and stuff, people who've joined the show in the last year. So of course there are people who don't know who I am. I am the founder and one of the former co-hosts of Blue Peg, Pink Peg, a board gaming podcast about board games, relationships, and the interaction between the two. I remember. To this day, I remember the intro because I used to record the intro. Welcome to Blue Peg, Pink Peg, the bi-weekly podcast about board games, relationships, and the interaction between the two. During this episode, we provide our usual gaming reviews and gaming summaries, including a discussion of. So I always said that exact same thing. And I said it hundreds of times, almost 200 times, over and over and over again. In introing the show. So yes, it's sort of drilled into my brain. So anyways, I am one of the hosts and founders of Blue Peg, Pink Peg. I've been, we're a fairly well-known podcast within the Dice Tower Network. Been nominated for the Golden Geek for Best Podcast every year that the award has been in existence. We are in America, there's this Lucci, Christina Lucci is her name. There was this soap opera. Soap operas are like daytime sort of drama things that aren't as popular anymore, but used to exist. And there was this woman that was nominated for Best Actress in a daytime series for like 19 years in a row until she finally won. So we are that of board gaming podcasts. We've been nominated more than any other board gaming podcast, and we've never won it. So, but in any event,
forever second.
Yes, we're always a bridesmaid. So in any event, but I'm on that show, or was on, and I'm still on the show now. I'm still a part of the show, but I left about a year ago. So that's a long way of getting at I'm a guy who used to be on a podcast.
Yeah, like you said, you quit the podcast and you went in a way to search for fun in gaming. How did it go?
It did.
How has it been?
Yeah, so I loved doing the podcast for so many years. It was such a great experience. But it got to a place where it was really just more work than it was worth for me. And there were a lot of changes in my life that made that important for me as well. And so I decided to leave the show, and I'm still, with no enmity. I love the show. As I said, I still appear on the show regularly. I will be appearing upon the episode. You will have already heard it by the time this releases, but the next episode that we're recording, I'll be on. I did a guest spot a while ago, and I'll continue to come back. We actually have a joke within the show where, what if I came back to the show, but I just said every episode that I was a guest. Like I just constantly was like, oh, I'm not back. No, I'm not back. I'm just guesting. But
that
anyways,
would be good.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to come back because I have a lot of other things going on in my life that demand my attention.
Yeah.
I'm not ruling it out for all time, but I'm still very much involved in the show. Every time they play a game, I play with them. But anyways, it gave me a chance to play the games I want to play. It gave me a chance to sort of, when you record a podcast and you start getting a lot of review copies and stuff like that, you have obligations. You've got to review stuff, and very often you review stuff that's not very good. And one of our deals was, like, if people sent us something, we would always give it a play. We have a review policy that basically if you send us something and we ask for it, we'll play it quickly. If we don't ask for it, we're going to play it when we can. And if we don't like it, we reserve the right not to talk about it. But we always agreed that if somebody sends us something, we'll at least give it a play. And I played a lot of really, really bad games. And you didn't hear about those because we don't like to, we're not about negativity. We're not about bashing people. In a lot of cases, it would be newer designers sending us a game that we just, it felt like a new design. And unless there was something fun or interesting to talk about in it that was supportive, we wouldn't talk about it. So behind the scenes, there's a lot of games that we play that you don't hear about. So there was that. So now I just get to play the games I want, what was it? Last week I played I played Yokohama. I haven't played that in a long time. I got to play just games for pleasure, and so I love that. I played Kalis. By the way, I played Kalis, and then we played Kalis 1303, the sequel to Kalis. It's
Which
a cool.
one is better?
I don't know. I think 1303 is. It has specialized powers you can get. It streamlines some of the mechanics. It doesn't use coins anymore. Instead, your workers are a currency. I think I like 1303 better. Kalis has a special place in my heart because it was the second designer board game I ever played. And I played it with my ex when we were both getting into the hobby a lot. So that I have the version with that hideous picture of King Philip upon it, and so I still love that game, though it's definitely shows its wear. Adia's design is age is okay, it's fine, it holds up, but it definitely feels like an older game. I think was that 2006 it was, so it's been maybe even older than that. But in any event, so I played that. So the point being, I get to play games that I want to play. And it's awesome. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, of course. If you don't have to play games, you can choose to play games.
Sure.
Has it been easy leaving the show?
Well, yes and no, right? the decision to leave was actually pretty easy. There were a couple of things going on that motivated me to make that choice. The first one was I used to be a legal aid attorney, and what that means is I worked for underserved communities, marginalized communities, protecting and preserving their rights. So I would go, and it was hard work, and it was important work. It was basically, I was like, I was a free attorney for civil actions. I didn't do criminal stuff. I'm not like a public defender. So I would help protect people if they were getting evicted or if they were getting their houses foreclosed upon, or people in really bad situations who otherwise couldn't afford an attorney. I did that for years. I loved it. It was my passion. But then my daughter's going to school, and it became apparent I needed to sort of get back into you don't make a lot of money as a legal aid attorney. You make very little, in fact. But I needed to get back into like making money again, to be quite crass about it. I hate to be, as sort of transactional as it is, but that's the reality. And so I went back into private practice. I went back to a firm, became a partner there. And that requires a lot more of you, a lot more time, a lot more energy. The cliche about attorneys working, long hours and all weekends are true. Not always true, but are true. And my kids were older. My daughter's is in college. My daughter was getting ready to go to college. She was in her last year of high school. So I thought, I can't do all of this stuff. Something's got to give. So I left the show so I could focus upon those parts of my life. I mean, it should be said further. Like when I left, I was like, I've been divorced for a while now. I kind of wanted to get back into dating. So that was another big time-consuming thing. Dating's fine and fun, but it's so good. It's work. It is so much work. It really is. It's like when you're young and you don't have a lot of obligations. It's not. It's like it's what you do, But when you're an adult and you've got kids who demand a lot of you, and you've got a work that demands a lot of you, and like dating is just it's time-consuming. It's fun. I like it, but it was something that was going to take time. So I decided
you haven't been able to do that for a while, I think, though.
Yeah. With COVID, I actually, I have, I've tabled all of that. I was in a little bit of a relationship when it started, and that kind of, COVID kind of petered that out, which is fine. I mean, it wasn't a big deal. And actually, right now, I'm kind of okay with that. I'm having a good time, sort of being with myself, knowing myself, spending time with myself, spending time with my family. Creating things, so it's not that big of a loss. But the point is that I was looking at doing this with my life. And so I decided it was time to leave because of that. But I was hard because I love my community, The thing I always say about Blue Peg, Pink Peg is the best thing about our show is our fans. And that's really what I feel. The thing that makes that show special is there are remarkable human beings who are supportive of each other, supportive of our community. We've created something very special in the community of that show. And I'm sure other shows can say that too, but I'm really, really proud of the fact that we have people who are there for each other, who pick each other up during hard times, who support each other, who care for each other, like a lot, like really good friends. We have at least 2 marriages that grew or were tangentially related to our show. There are 2 people that got married as a result of sort of they weren't brought together necessarily because of our show, but their love of our show was a big part of their relationship. And that's something to be very, very proud of. So I missed that, but I still get to interact with it. Of course, COVID happened, and I was planning on going to a convention and being with all of our family and our board game family and seeing everybody, which didn't get to happen. So that's sad. Yeah. And of course, podcasting is a one-way conversation, especially when I'm involved because I love to talk. But it's still a conversation. So not having that is sad. The other thing is that when you're out there and you're in the public eye, you put yourself out there, and it's in the context of a podcast, as you put a part of yourself out there, and not everybody likes it. Like I'm not there are a lot of people that do not like me. Whatever it is, there's something about my persona, the way I present myself on shows.
I don't understand that.
Well, I mean, candidly, I don't know if I do either. I guess. But the fact, I do. I understand it quite well. Because I'm that type of person. But meaning I often am very hard on myself. But yeah, there was a lot of people that really, and so the negativity that comes at you from the dark shadows of the web, or from people talking out of their own basements or their own living rooms or whatever, like these strange people with weird names, like screen names and stuff, will bash on you, and it eats at you. Like it's like a little bite and a little bite. It's like being eaten, bit to death by ducks. It's like a small little bite here and there and
Ouch.
there. And it hurts, and it starts to sort of bear on you. And I would ignore it. Like it's sort of, I'm gonna tell a little. I hope that he doesn't get angry at me about this, because I don't think he will. But Rob is so. I think this is. He would look at the iTunes ratings or negative things people would say about the show, and he would always like just dwell upon it. I was like, I don't even look at that stuff, buddy. Like, don't tell me about it. Like, I have cut that out of my life. I don't need it, But you can't ignore it. You can't avoid it all the time. And so it really started.
I think he said it in a podcast, or maybe it was in Twitter. He said that.
Yeah, I know he did on Twitter. That's why I feel
one rating or something.
Yeah, I don't want to. I wouldn't tell stories out of school, but I get it. I identify with it. And to his credit, he, keeps on going. But for me, it really started to take a toll. And it's weird. There are hundreds of people that love you, but one or two people that don't. Like, it's so, it's the fruit of the poison tree. Like, you have, if there's one drop of taint inside of a, a big barrel of wine, it destroys the whole barrel, It's kind of the way it is. It's so horrible. But
you can't please everyone. You shouldn't even try.
Of course.
Because there is always some troll or someone who thinks that they have something negative to say.
Yeah.
I don't know yet. I don't have any ratings, so I have no idea, or no one has commented negatively. But
so I want to talk about that.
I don't know.
That needs so. Anyways, the point being, it started to get at me. I've been very honest, been very open about my struggles with mental health issues, and they don't dominate my life, but they're an important part of who I am. And I should say, like the things that, I have, I'm diagnosed as I have an anxiety disorder, kind of, and I have a type of sort of, I can get depressed at times. It's not dysthymic. I mean, it's not all the time, but anyways, I can get really depressed. And I take medicine for that. I'm with a therapist for that. It's been a part of my life for a long, long time. I also have ADD, so I treat for that. And, so anyways, I've been in therapy for 20 years, on and off, and mostly on. And I'm real, forthright about sort of that part of me, because it makes me who I am. I'm really proud of that, in fact. I'm proud of the fact that I have a depth of emotion. I'm proud of the fact that I feel in the ways that I do. I just have to manage it. But you also have to say to yourself, this is not healthy for me. This is not giving me anything right now. And I had to walk away because of that. And I'm not angry about it or upset about it. I just knew that it was time to take care of myself. And so that was a part of the choice as well, stronger in a time when I was feeling better about who I was, and when I was, felt like more in control of the things that I had going on in my life, when I felt more stability. That stuff didn't faze me at all. Not at all. But it was at a place where I was at a point of transition in my life. So I was like, I need to leave so I can get myself back on my feet, get myself strong again. And then if I want to come back, I can, And I didn't want that negativity to impact what I was doing. So, that was a big part of the choice that we made. And I want to comment upon the fact that, you've got no ratings. So I'm going to talk to everybody out there. Rate this show. Go in, and because here's an important thing. You don't know this. We are talking into the void, it feels like.
That's true.
If we don't have people who are responding to us, it feels empty. And it is so important just to reach out to creators and encourage them and tell them how, like a small little thing, that small piece of energy, if they've given you any entertainment or care or distracted you from anything going on in your life, take just 1 second to provide them with that little attaboy, that piece of support, rating, feedback, email, whatever. Tweet
just
them.
A comment is enough.
Yeah, a comment, like
most people at least.
Yeah, go onto their site and give them a their Twitter and at them, and just give a little positivity. It costs you nothing, and it does so much. And I should say, beyond just content creators, that is my philosophy in the world. If I can find a way to give something positive to somebody, a little piece of encouragement, I try to do it. It's such a small expense and it can do so much. People love to know that they're connected to other people, And
That's true.
And so I really mean it. Like I've said this before. I don't listen to your show all the time, I don't listen to, and disclosure, full disclosure, I don't listen to any shows all the time. I'm great friends with, I'm good friends with Jamie. I'm good friends with Chris from the Secret Cabal. I'm good friends with Marty and Tony. I'm good friends with lots of creators, good friends. I'm friends with them. And I don't listen to their shows, like I just don't, it's not part of what I do anymore, it's not it's not, which is okay. But I like to check in on you. I like to check in on a few other, podcasts that are out there. Like I like to check on, You're So Very Wrong About Games. I like to check in on the guys at State of Game. I like to check on We're Not Wizards. Like I like to check in on these friends of mine who I've gotten to know through podcasting every once in a while. Just see what's going on with them. What are they talking about? And so I'll listen to a show here and there. And I think what you do is great. I think you have a great sort of intelligent, thoughtful interaction with other people and with the content. You understand that games are more than a distraction. Like I love when people bring their insights and their sort of thoughts about this hobby to others. It's such a gracious act, for people to do that. And I admire so very much what you do. I have so much respect for you. And for your show. And I think, you're underappreciated, truly. I think more people should listen and be involved and engage with your show because I think there's so much bad content out there. There just is. Like, I'm sorry. It's just true, and there's a lot of great content out there too. And you are in that latter category, and
Thanks.
And so, and I mean, there's a lot of, there's stuff people love that, like, I just don't get, like I which is fine. That's fine for them. But
yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, it just,
I don't get some things either.
Yeah, I don't get the appeal, and that's fine. Like, I'm okay. Like, I'm not, the phrase "don't yuck on someone's yum." Like, if you love it, if it's not hurting you and hurting anybody else, then go follow your bliss. Yeah,
of course.
But I do wish that there was. I love positivity. I love the energy of, and that's, I think your show exudes that. That's the thing that I sort of like. There's a meanness and sort of a snarkiness that sometimes is in other content creation that isn't for me. I think it's fine. I don't think there's anything bad or negative about it. It's just not what I want to listen to.
Yeah, but there's audience for that also.
Sure.
I'm just trying to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't want to be positive. I don't want to be negative. Just being honest and tell what I think, because I have I don't have bindings anywhere.
Sure.
So if I don't like someone's game, I don't like that game, and I can say why I don't like it. But if I like something, I then say that I like it.
Well, and your ability to articulate your basis of what you have a great capacity for articulating the basis of your opinion. Like, it's good. You let us. You really have a nice sort of construction of, you guide us through your thoughts on what, and it resonates for me. Like, I totally, like, I'm like, yes, he's exactly right. That's exactly what's wrong with that game. I love, this is something I do love about content creation. I do love it when a creator or reviewer identifies something about a game. I will say the king of this, like, I'm going to tell you, so I'm going to say, I think I've said this on another show. I know I did. The best content creator, as far as reviewer, that hits that articulates the feelings that I sometimes cannot articulate is Efka. With from no pun included. No pun included. I'm having a hard time with my words right now, but he is so remarkably good at telling me what I think about a game. I'm like, yes, that's exactly right. Oh my God, that's why I love that. That's why that works. He's masterful at it. I have a lot of admiration for that. But I think you do that very well as well. And so anyways, what was the question?
Was it easy to make the change? That was probably the question, I think.
So anybody who listens to my show knows that I'm just a stream of consciousness kind of guy. Like, I work very hard on structuring my shows and my reviews and all that other stuff. But once I get going, it's kind of hard. I'm a little bit like a top. I get spun up and I just go.
Yeah, not a Newton's cradle, at least.
Yes, indeed.
What was the best thing about leaving the podcast to you?
So I think the best thing was I got to have the best of both worlds. I still get to hang out with my friends and play games with them. Whenever they review a game, more times than not, I play the game with them multiple times. But I didn't have to do all the work. I got back about 6 to 10 hours a week of time to do other things, mostly hang out with my kids and play games. So I got that time back. I still got to be involved with the people I love, meaning the other podcast, my co-host. And I got to play games for me. I think that's really the thing that was the most positive factor. And also I got to kind of focus on other things in my life that matter. I love to create, and so I've been able to sort of pursue some new endeavors. I think I mentioned on a show a while back, last show I was on, that I'm actually in a little small short film, and it's a little 2-person, 15-minute film, and we're in rehearsals right now. We're actually going to rehearse this week. We're going to start filming. We do principal photography next week, and then we'll start doing some other stuff, as far as other roles and B-rolls and takes and stuff. But so yeah, that's I'm working on that right now. And then the guy who actually is the director and sort of cinematographer for that is and I are working together on. I've written a play, a one-man show actually, years ago. I've been working on it for years. It's kind of funny. There's a guy, Sean Jackman. He runs the Daily Worker Placement, and he's a marketing guy that used to work for CMON. I think he works for somebody else. I can't remember who he's with now, but I think a distributor. But anyway, he's a great guy. He's if people who go to cons and stuff get to see him a lot, and he's always been kind of my big cheerleader on this project. So he and I have been talking about it for years, and I've been updating him on that. But anyways, so I've got this play that I wrote, and there were some parts of it that were hard to think about how to stage. I'd written them, but none of them really worked. So I started talking to this guy, and we're looking at maybe making it into a film. So that's been a good thing. I've had time to sort of be involved in new endeavors. I should say,
will you kickstart that?
I might. Yeah. Here's the thing about the film. It's actually called 5 Games I Lost. It's about board games. And the challenge of the film was, or the stage production was, it's a play in 5 segments, and it's a monologue. It's a big long monologue, and each of them start with me describing.
That's who it's you.
Yeah, exactly. Of course. What else could it be?
Yeah.
What else could it be? Me talking for an hour and a half sounds about right. So it starts out with me talking about a board game, and I talk about the core mechanics kind of that game. Blood Rage is one of the games, for example. And so I talk about sort of because this is written for board gamers, but it's also written for non-board gamers. And so coming up with a innovative and engaging way to do that in a stage production was hard. I had ideas that I worked, and I've written various scripts that address this, but we sort of started talking about a film is a better way to do that. And one of the ways we're thinking about doing that is through animation. And so if we decide to go that route, then we'll probably do some crowdfunding to help pay for that expense. So it's a possibility. It's still, there's lots of little pieces. If we did it, we'd film a sizzle reel, basically like a teaser, and use that to sort of get funding and to get people involved in it. But if I did do it, it's still a couple of years probably from being done. I would go to all like take some time and go to all the conventions and screen it, so go to Gen Con, go to Origins, go to UK Games Expo, go to, wherever they'd have us, lots of places have film tracks. And so we'd screen the film and, and hopefully get it promoted that way. But just for fun. I mean, this is just something I do because of the passion of it. Anyways, so that's sort of the changes that have been helpful for me, I think, as far as opening me up to do these other things.
Mm-hmm. How about the lawyer job? How has that been for you?
It's been good. I've always, the reason I worked at Legal Aid was because it gave me time. It was a 9-to-5 job. I left at the end of every day. Occasionally I'd have a big trial. I'd have to work late, but that was the exception, not the rule. Mm-hmm. So it gave me a lot of time to be present for my kids. And now they're older. My daughter's out of the house. My son is, 16, and while we're very close, he's got his own thing going on, and he's very active doing his own thing. So I have more time to work. So I've been able to focus upon my work. And the thing that I've learned is I've never defined myself through my work. I've always sort of thought I work to live, I don't live to work. And so I always sort of resisted being too committed to my professional life. And I think I'm sort of embracing that a little bit more now. I'm proud of my work. I enjoy my work. I'm good at it, I think. And I've been able to really kind of be more heavily committed. And there's something very satisfying about that I wasn't expecting, I've never been a workaholic. I mean, I work all the time. I'm always doing something, but I've never been a workaholic committed to like professional work. I never have let that define me. But I'm sort of getting a lot of gratification from being a little more focused and a little more sort of, like caring about it and really, really trying to I work hard for my clients, and I've always put a lot of my energy into it, but now I'm trying to work hard for me. I'm trying to develop my practice a little more. So, I think it's nice. I don't like lawyers, generally speaking. Well, it should be said, I don't like active lawyers. A lot of retired lawyers I get along with really well, like Justin from Restoration Games is a former lawyer. And he's a great guy. I really like him a lot. I get along with him well. It's nice to, I definitely like people who have left the law. But, lawyers generally aren't my type of people. But the people at my firm I really like. They're really nice. They're really interesting. They're really compassionate. They're really caring. That's a big, I like that. So anyways, I think I've learned to sort of embrace that part of my life in a way that I hadn't before. There's nothing wrong with it, and as long as I don't let it dominate me or I don't let it sort of change my core values, then I think it's a good change. I'm really proud of the work I've done over the last year.
What has been the worst thing about leaving the show and getting more focused on the work as a lawyer?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I miss the family, As I said, the board game Blue Peg, Pink Peg is about building a community. I do miss the connection I get to have with the listeners. But I do still stay in touch with them, and people will come into town and I'll get together with them usually. There was one guy came in town recently. I wasn't able to see him. But I usually get to hang out with the community. But I miss that daily, or weekly sort of interaction, being as intimately involved with them as I used to be. That is a bit of a regret. It's hard to sort of leave that behind in some ways. I think that's probably the thing I've regretted the most. Though I have to be quite plain, I don't have a lot of regrets, it hasn't really, it hasn't been a negative experience for me to leave, I think I did my part for building and promoting this community. I think I've created something and put something out into the world. It still lives and lives beyond me. It's kind of an interesting metaphor in some ways to my daughter leaving for school, she's out and she's doing her own thing and she's making choices sometimes that I wouldn't necessarily make. But nothing outrageous, she's a good kid and I'm proud of her, but she's her own person now. And it's sort of a growing experience to realize that she gets to be her own person, and she will always be my girl, and she will always be a big part of, me, but she's not mine anymore. She's now her own person, and she doesn't live with me, and she doesn't rely upon me and as much. She'll always rely upon me to some degree, but there's something very, very beautiful about being able to let go of the people that you love and let them sort of grow into their own self. And the show it feels like a very interesting parallel, right? The show is growing. I created it, I fostered it, I nurtured it, and now it gets to go and live without me, And so obviously a lot of other people created it, nurtured with me as well. I'm not trying to take any kind of credit that isn't mine, but there's something very beautiful about the fact that, like I said when I left, I really hope for you guys to grow and to thrive without me. I want this show to become better. I want it to become even more than it ever was. I would love for the show to exceed, to have its greatest successes while I'm gone, because I'm proud of the fact that it was able to grow and sort of develop in its own way, with me having less of a direct impact upon it. So, I'm proud of all of that. I there's some negativity. There's some, not negativity, but there's some wistfulness. Sometimes you miss it. But it's sort of sweet. It feels pretty good, there's a, happy sad. It's sort of a happy sadness in sometimes,
How about your voice acting possibilities? Have you got any of those?
Yeah, so
you will have with the animation from the Kickstarter. You can hire yourself as a voice actor.
Sure,
right?
I would love to do that. Yeah, so here's the thing. I will say this. My heart was broken a little bit when I found out that they were doing with Frosthaven. One of the stretch goals was that there was there was a voice actor who would act out all of the scenarios and everything, and I didn't get a phone call. They went and they employed all these professionals, these people with all these skills, who did all these. Yeah. And I will truly, I was like, man, I would have liked to have done that. No.
You would have done it pro bono.
I would have done it pro bono, and it would have been remarkable. Yeah. My Vermling voice is on point. But anyways.
Give a sample.
Oh, of my Vermling voice? Okay.
Yep.
Oh, get over here, you guys. Hey, everybody. I'm really. You can't get past me.
See, that's you guys could have had that in your ears. There aren't I don't think there are Vermlings in Frosthaven.
I don't know. They were in Jaws of the Lion at least.
Yeah.
I think in the monsters.
Great game, by the way. Yeah. Yeah. So, anyways, no, I haven't done any voice acting. But if anybody wants to have somebody do any kind of voice acting for any of their projects, give me a call. I'm here. I've got the equipment. And meaning I have the physical equipment. I don't know if I necessarily have the aptitude. But I do love. I have like I'm not good at accents. I'm really bad at impersonations. I'm really, really bad at them. But I always work on them. I work to develop I have a bunch of books and tapes that I try to develop better skills. It's just something I do for fun.
Your expertise is foreign names, right?
Yes. I try. Like every time that I pronounce a foreign name, not every time, but the first time for sure, I look it up. I try to find a place where the person says their own name. And then I will write in my notes the phonetic, my phonetic sort of breakdown of how that name is pronounced. So I really do try to say the names because it's like, it's not a matter of like showing off or anything, like some people really got kind of annoyed by that with me. But it's like, I want to be respectful of that culture, just because I'm not, Polish. Like Polish, it's a hard language to sort of sort out, if you aren't familiar with it.
And they can have 5 consonants right after
exactly.
each other.
Yeah,
so
it's like Welsh, like Welsh is the same way, like a million consonants. And so, but I want to be respectful of that culture and of that individual, and so I try my best to say their name as best I can. I mess it up all the time. I know I do, but I really do make an earnest effort at trying to get it
and
right.
You really do try.
Yeah.
That shows that you're trying. Yeah. Even if they usually don't go correct, but
yeah. I mean, I get it. I get it wrong. I get it wrong. I know that. But I really do it's not. I don't know. It's just about like being respectful. That's all it is.
Yeah. But I think it's better than just making everything American or English or American English.
Exactly.
It's better to try it. I mean, it shows more respect in my opinion.
Right. It's like I hate this sort of Anglo-centric sort of view that dominates our world, It's like, gosh, the world is diverse and full of remarkable and incredible people, and it like take a little bit of time to try to, appreciate the differences between you and others, like try to embrace that to the extent. And I'm not putting a bash on anybody. Like, it's not anybody's obligation. That's just my own sort of particular sort of take on it. Like, it was an effort. It always is an effort to try to be respectful of other people, like it's funny. I speak a lot of languages, but like most Americans, I'm not a polyglot, and but like I try, like every time I speak a little Spanish, I speak a little Italian, I speak a little German, I speak a little French, and like more than most, like I have a pretty good working knowledge of each, because if I travel to a place, I try to learn as little of the as much of the language as I can, within the time that's available to me. Anyways, so but the point being, none of that helps me with any of my pronunciation. Like, it just doesn't help. I just don't have. I don't know what it is. I have a hard time with it, but I try. I always try.
But that also shows respect, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying for.
I also do the same. If I travel somewhere, I have a dictionary usually, and I at least if I'm 1 week somewhere, I try to learn how to say thank you and please and order something.
Yeah, absolutely.
If nothing else, I try to learn some small words at least.
Yeah. So it's sort of what I do, and whatever. It's my best effort.
Yeah, and that's what is required,
sure,
or can be required. How about this year has been a bit interesting, this 2020, and coronavirus and everything else, especially in the US, there have been other things. It's been very colorful year there, and let's see how the November begins.
Sure.
But not to get into politics.
Oh, we can get into politics if you want. I'll bring it. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
If you want to, you can, but maybe it will take so long that we don't have enough time.
I'm playing.
Yeah, but how has the changes or the coronavirus and everything been visible in where you live? And how's the situation there now? Is it getting better or worse, or is it staying the same?
Well, so Corona and our political situation are related to one another. Like we've had, it's been hard on the U.S., because we don't have this sort of leadership that attends to it, in the ways that, other nations have. So those things are not unrelated, but yeah, we've had a spike here in our region. We're in Virginia. We're in Western Virginia, kind of in the mountains. Roanoke, Virginia, which is kind of nestled into the Blue Ridge Mountains. It's lovely. It's just beautiful. But we have had a little spike. It has made things hard. I've just recently, in the past few months, started going back to work in person. I'm actually, right now, my daughter got COVID. And she's fine. She hasn't had any lingering effects. She didn't have her symptoms.
That's good.
Yeah, her symptoms were minor. The only thing the thing that lasted the longest for her was the loss of smell. She lost her smell, and it took a little while for that to come back, but that's back. She's doing pretty good, pretty well. But obviously that impacted me. I had to isolate and stuff. And the way we've done it here is I do a lot of remote playing. I play a lot of games online using Tabletop Simulator or BGA or whatever, which has been nice. I've gotten to spend a lot more time playing with my friends who don't live near me. So that's sort of a trade-off. But we have our pods, our gaming pods. I do, and there's a small group of people. We call ourselves the COVID-8. We're now the COVID-9 because we just added a guy. And we get together and play with each other. And we're responsible if we are exposed or if somebody, for example, my gaming group's getting together tonight, and I'm not going to game with them because my ex was exposed to somebody who had COVID. So I don't see my ex in person. Though she and I do play board games together sometimes, even now. But I haven't seen her.
That's interesting.
Yeah. We don't. Our relationship is civil. Like, we get along. We're not friends or anything. But she likes playing board games, and I'm the only person she can play board games with. It's kind of odd. Even during our marriage was not like a disaster or anything. It was actually pretty good, but it just wasn't working. Games were always a thing that worked for the two of us, and she enjoyed very much playing games with me, and we got into board games together. And in fact, we got into board games because we moved here and didn't know anybody. So for a year, all we had to do at night was hang out with each other, and so we discovered board games in that. And but in any event, so she got exposed, and while I have not been around her, I've been around our kids, and because my daughter had come back from school for a week. And so I was around them. So I'm, out of a abundance of caution, I'm isolating and not going out to play with my group. So the point is, we're really cautious with each other. We don't, if anybody has any risk, we miss a night. We've been responsible and just kind of kept that group small, which has been nice. It's been nice to be able to sort of have a set group of gaming friends and really focus upon playing games with them. So that's kind of been the upside of it. But yeah, it has really cut down a lot of our gaming opportunities. Obviously, Rob and Christina and Jeremy are part of my gaming pod. And so I play with them. And then, as I said, I've played a lot of remote games. You and I played some games. And,
Keyflower and some others.
Yeah, some others. Yeah.
I don't remember what was the other one.
Yeah, I can't remember either. But we'll be playing, like you started talking about. You're playing City of Big Shoulders, and what else are you playing right now? You got some big Nippon, right? Are you in the middle of a game of Nippon?
Yeah, and Madeira. All of them work very well in Board Game Arena.
They do. So, but once those are done, we're going to play those together as well. So the point being, it's been a great opportunity for me to get to play games with people I otherwise don't get to play games with. I've been playing games with a lot with David Whitebride of Man vs. Meeple. I've got a group of friends who are all out of West Virginia, and I'm playing games with them remotely. So that's been sort of the upside.
Wait, I have to interrupt now.
Sure.
Is David better friend of yours than he is Rob's?
No. Rob and he are super duper tight. The reason, and I mean, Dave and I are good friends for sure. But yeah, no, he and Rob are like really, really close, and largely because of the fact that I think, as among other things, but largely Christina. So David has a wife who is really great. She's a great woman. I'm not going to say her name because I don't know if they've said it before. But anyways, she's really cool, and she and Christina are great friends. She and Christina get along great. So that the four of them often get together for weekends, or they'll travel and have like cabin weekends and stuff together. So that's a big part of like the nature of that relationship, and kind of not having a partner is it excludes you from that. But no, David and I are good friends. I would say though he and Rob are really great friends. They get along great. They have really good rapport.
I just wanted to ask you because Rob seems a bit jealous sometimes.
Jealous. Yeah. Well, Rob, poor old Rob. No, he's a great guy, and I'll say Rob's really good at fostering and maintaining long distance relationships in a way that I'm not as good at. I have a harder time sort of being disciplined in the way that a long-term relationship requires, in a way that Rob isn't. he's really good at like staying in touch and kind of keeping engaged. I'm not as good at that. But right now, I think Rob's talked about this on the show. I'm involved in a D&D campaign with David and Rob and a friend of ours, Dan, and we all are. It's a lot of fun. We get together at least once every other week, sometimes more often, and we do our campaign, and we have a blast. Rob's playing a bard, and after our adventure, sometimes I'll sing the songs that he wrote during the adventure, and he'll sing them. We'll sing them together. Like we get online and we start improvising these crazy songs together. And
this has to be streamed.
Oh, it's we've said that sometimes. It's fun. We've had some really we've got some very cool encounters. Rob, during one of our campaigns, there was a bugbear. Was it a bugbear? I'm pretty sure it was a bugbear, and he was able. It was a bugbear. He killed it. Well. He helped kill it by wrapping a blanket around its head. He's this crazy, kind of stupid. We recently had this thing with an ogre where I cast command upon it and I made it grovel in front of us, and it groveled in front of Rob's character. And Rob's character's stupid, so he thought that it was real because he didn't know I had this spell because it was a new spell I had. And so he decided he was going to ride it. So he got on its back because he thought he had this, and it threw him against a rock. And it was just this whole thing. And he and I got into this fight about it. I was like, what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Anyways, it's been fun doing that campaign with those guys.
So the situation is about the same. They're getting maybe a bit worse, right?
Yeah, a little worse, but we'll get through it. We've had to tighten things up a little bit here locally, but it's we're kind of. I said this about it's kind of unfortunate that America's had more waves of coronavirus than we've had of feminism. We're in the third wave of COVID, and there's only been 2 waves of feminism in America. But anyways, it's just we're in our third wave. We may have a fourth. It's whatever. It's horrible, but we're trying to adjust. We're trying to be responsible about it. And a big part of that means being responsible about our gaming, but it opens up new opportunities. So I like it. I have to say, there's a lot to positive to take away from it.
How about change? What do you think about change? Is it good or bad or situational?
I think it's good. Now, there are some that would. For me, right? Change is to say it's good or bad or anything. It's like saying, is the sun good or bad? Is the wind good or bad? It's a force of nature. It's going to happen. The entire nature of experience is about change, right? Every moment is a change from the moment that came before. Obviously, I know what you mean. But I think that sort of parsing those words is a bit, pedantic. But the fact is that that's the reality. Change will happen. And you have to accommodate it. You have to embrace it. I've experienced a lot of bad change in my life in recent years. And the most important lesson I had to draw from that was that change it is not good or it is not bad, but it is. And so your response to it, the way you deal with it, is what is good or bad. And so I think of change as a good thing because it provides me an opportunity to assess my experience, to think about the ways I can alter and affect the ways I respond to the things around me, the ways I feel about the things around me, my perceptions, in a way that will allow me to grow. I think life is about growth. Life is about changing and getting closer to the better, to what makes you happy. Always striving for that and letting every moment sort of be its own thing. There's an Eastern philosophy that sort of says an important part of a balanced experience is mindfulness and equanimity, being aware of yourself and the place within the world around you. And so that's an important part of that, is change happens and you have to dance in the rain. You have to just sort of be okay with it, and balance. The balance of sort of finding sort of comfort, but also being okay with the sadness that change brings, the stress, the anxiety that it brings. Like being okay with the fact that is telling me something. If I'm feeling anxiety or tension or sadness, it's driving me towards something. Pay attention to that so you can get what you need to out of it. Every moment is a teacher. Even a stone can be a teacher. And so let the change teach you something is, I guess, the way I think about it, And I think a lot of people resist change, and I think that's to their detriment, I think because it's going to happen. It's a force. It's a force of nature. And so you can no sooner stand against change as you can stand against the waves crashing against you, So why not embrace it? Why not move with it, I'm quoting so much garbage, but I think of like that Bruce Lee statement, be like water, be water.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Yeah, it's a force of nature. It's a good description for it. How about on a global scale? Do you think that there will be some changes due to this year that is going on
That's
now?
a good point.
Or in societies?
Yeah, I think that we're going to have to change to accommodate this. I'm hoping that we can... Here's the thing. It's creating... What this COVID has done is it has broken down the barriers of space. And when we live remotely and we live virtually, we have to let that... My mind on that is, let's embrace that. Let's let that bring us closer together. Let's let that be a force that unifies us on ideas and allows us to feel closer to each other, because now space means less to us than it used to. And so why don't we use that as an opportunity to sort of break down some of the barriers that space imposes upon us? I guess that's my hope, as I get to play games with friends that live thousands of miles away from me on a meta level. That's really cool for me. On a macro level, that's cool for me. On a meta level, I hope that can open up opportunities for all of us to feel a little closer to each other.
That's actually very well put.
Yeah.
Do you think that you yourself have changed in the process of, let's say, within a year since you left the show?
Yeah. I hope so.
Do you see a change in yourself?
Yeah, I hope so. I definitely feel like in middle age, which I'm beyond, but middle age nonetheless, you feel the stasis of you fall into your routines and you become sort of, inured to sort of what things are. And I think when things shake your life up a little bit, that's an opportunity for you to change. I hope I've changed this year. I hope I've become, the big thing that I think I've done this year is I have let go of control. I have let things happen to me without feeling a need to enforce my will upon them. I have let things sort of be. I have sort of allowed my life not feeling a need to exert so much power over it. And that has been the goal of my last year from a point of view of self-improvement. And I hope that I've done more on that. I think I have. I think COVID sort of stuck its head in there and said, hey, buddy, you know what? You're working on that? Let's work on it harder, And so I've been, trying to let myself let go of a lot of things. Let go of control, let go of the need to to feel like a thing has to be the way that I want it to be. Like, let it be its own way. And find a way to sort of find the joy or the happiness or the value in that. So, that's been, I hope I've changed in that way. I hope I've grown towards that. That's sort of that's sort of my big goal right now. I'm working on it still. and we'll continue to work on it. But that's been a goal, and I hope I'm closer to that this year.
Mm-hmm. How about in the future? What do you expect from the future?
Oh, heavens.
What do you see coming to you?
Yeah, well, I hope that I'm able to keep creating. I value myself as I always have felt like that's what I am. Like if I were to call, I'm a creator. I love to take ideas. I love to put something into the world. I like to sort of, take a notion or a concept that I have and come up with a way to sort of talk about it to other people so that maybe they can understand it better, or so that maybe they can build upon that idea or whatever. So that's my goal for the next year, is to keep creating, to keep building upon something, to keep a positive force, to not let inertia take hold, of me. That is my nemesis, is inertia. I am inclined towards it. It is sort of the negative force that exerts itself upon me, and I can very easily find myself in a particular situation and just feel like I've got to stay there. And I think that is, be it laziness, be it comfort, be it stability. And so my whole goal for the future is to resist that and to keep creating, to keep making things. Even if they're not good, just do something. Just put something out into the world. Keep doing that. So that's my hope for the future, is to keep driving towards that in some way. And a big part of I want to help promote in the board game industry. I want to help other creators. I want to be available to, if people want people like me to be on a show, I'll do it. If people need advice about starting a show or working on their show, I hope to put it out there. If you want to reach out to me, you can always reach out to bluepegpinkpeg, bluepegpinkpeg@gmail.com, and let them know that you want to get in touch with me. I still get all those emails. They'll forward them to me. I'll get back to you. I'll answer your questions. I'll lend my support. I'll give you a signal boost if I can, such as it is. I'll do whatever I can to support other people who want to create. It's a value, and I think I've got some experience that I can pass on to others, and I want to be able to do that. So, I want to. My future, and sort of the role I want to keep playing, is building up other people. I want to buff others. I'd love to be a cleric. I want to help other people succeed to the extent that I can. So, if anyone wants that, if anyone needs that, reach out. I'll be happy to do whatever I can.
Yeah, I remember when this Apple Podcasts asked that what is a podcast that you suggest in Twitter at maybe last year or something. You wrote my name there and or this podcaster, and I really thought that you made a typo there or something.
No, I didn't.
You replied like that. But when I saw that, I thought that now I don't have to do podcasting anymore. That I've reached my goal. That my favorite podcast said that I'm to be recommended. So
that's
that was kind of
that's super
interesting,
kind of you
and it was out of nowhere.
Yeah. Well, I want to do that, and I mean, look, if you've got quality, I want to let people see it. Your show, I noticed it. I don't know how it came on my radar, but it popped on my radar, and I was like, this is good stuff. No, more people need to kind of know about this guy out in Finland talking about games. It's important, and so that was what I wanted to do, and I want to keep doing that. It's very much my aspiration to promote and support others who are doing good stuff, who are putting their heart in their work. That's the thing. The thing I value the most is earnestness. People who aren't afraid to be honest, but not just honest, truthful, like we all aspire to be, but honest about their experience and their affection or their whatever. Not feeling I want to eliminate cynicism. I want to, but not by discouraging it. It can be what it is, but by encouraging positivity. That's really what I want to be able to try to do. And so that was a big part of what promoting your show's about, and other shows too. I don't have as much of a platform as I used to have, but I have access to it. I can certainly, have the guys, do a little, one of the things when I was in charge of the Blue Peg, Pink Peg Twitter is I spent a lot of energy promoting other stuff. You know, we have a certain number of followers, pretty big number of followers on Twitter, and so I was always like, I wanted to find things that otherwise might slip under the radar and give them a chance to, again, our influence isn't great, but it's something, and I figure why not? If you don't lend your voice to it, then why not? So that was very much a thing I tried to do when I was moderating the Twitter feed. But I still have access to it, and so I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, I think you found out about me when I asked that will you be coming to UK Games Expo. I don't remember, was it 2019 or 18? And
that's right.
You couldn't come because I said that I'm going to my first convention. Will you come there so I can get to see you for the first time ever?
I think that's right.
Not going to come to US.
I think that's right. And so I was like, well, who is this guy? So I checked out your stuff. I was like, I like it. It's worth promoting. It's good stuff.
Ah, okay, thanks. So it was worth reaching out, asking if I can see you at some point in my life.
And I will say, my intention is to get out there. Because of COVID, I've had to put a bunch of vacations on hold. So I'm taking my kids on a big trip. We're going somewhere big, and I will one day make it out to UK Games Expo. I love England. As a matter of fact, if I do it, I bet you I can get Jeremy to go with me. I bet you it'd make a fun guys trip.
Yeah, that's what I was suggesting to you because it seems like it would be perfect match for you too.
Sure, yeah, and we do that. Jeremy and I will go to cons occasionally together, and he's a good con buddy for sure. But yeah, I think one day we'll fly out to you because that's the international convention more so than Essen. I think Essen's more about selling and
it's it's like a selling point, and UK Games Expo is like Origins. It's about the same size also, and it's about gaming and seeing people. Yeah, and in my opinion, at least I've been there 2 times, and we really love it as a family. We want to go there. We were going this year also, but
it didn't happen.
We couldn't. And they have Legoland in the city for kids, Legoland Adventure Park, and then they have Sea Life. So last time we went there, and it was lovely.
Yeah, well, I will be going. It is on my list, and when I go, we will coordinate it so that you go at the same time, and we get to hang out because I would love to do it. There's a lot of people who I want to hang with at UK Games Expo, so I'll make it one day when the world allows. But also like I'm going to be doing a big trip with the kids once the world frees up. I've got a lot of money. Like I have a little I have a travel fund that I always keep because I love travel. And this one, it's gotten kind of big because I haven't gone on a trip in a year and a half. So
and you're earning a lot more money. Like
I am. So when we go, we're gonna get to I definitely want to make it out to I've got a desire to go to all of to Finland, but to the entire like northern part of Europe. That's very much on my list. I think our next trip may be, me and my kids have really been wanting to go to Spain. So that may be our next trip. But also my son really wants to go to Tokyo. But I think I may make Tokyo a few years out because of this summer. They're going to be hosting the summer games, and that doesn't seem like a good time to go. But anyways.
Go to Lapland for Christmas.
Oh, man.
Santa lives here in Finland. He doesn't live in North Pole. He lives here in Korvatunturi.
I know.
So you can go and meet him.
I know. One thing about Finland that I really, the food is so remarkable, right? You guys have such incredible, that's the one thing I'm really kind of excited about doing, so many of the interesting sort of salted foods and that sort of stuff. Like there's a lot of like interesting, you guys have very interesting sort of, like culinary traditions, right?
We have game things here, and then we have fish foods and some very. The kitchen is quite basic. But they're tasty.
Yeah. That's thing. I love food, and I love interesting sort of food I haven't had before. And again, it's a big part of culture is tied up in sort of the ways that they eat and they gather around food and that sort of stuff. So, but anyways, it's definitely on my list of things to do. And when I come, I expect a night of games. That's on my
Yeah.
itinerary.
Yeah, welcome.
Excellent.
Or we arrange something. Maybe we make a convention when you come.
I'll be there. Love it.
We have a game club at the university. Actually, we could make a bigger evening happen
That'd be great.
if you would like it.
Yeah.
That might be possible. Do you have anything else to add?
No, I think that's about it. I do want to say, I want to reiterate, just, support your creators. I really think it means a lot to the people who put their selves out there. It touches me, and it makes our hobby special. We are connected, and I think that really is a great people who put the energy in to do that, to create that for us, to create that community. We've got to support them, and so it's important to me. And I think we have a unique thing here. It's so weird that like this little niche of people get together and create community and support each other and support this thing and get together around these little totems on a table and and experience something together. It's just so unique, and I'm really proud of it. So I thank you for the role you play in building it, and I say that to all creators. You guys do something special, and we owe you a debt of gratitude. It means a lot. So that's all I got to add. If you want to reach out to me, please, check out. If you haven't checked out Blue Peg, Pink Peg, check it out. They're a great group of guys. You can find. I'm on 150 some episodes of it, so you can hear hundreds of more hours of me banter about nothing. And I will banter about nothing. If you haven't listened to the show, just understand that there may well be a conversation about egg-flavored bubble gum, as there was in our last episode. Or there may be a conversation about...
helicopters or vapor locks.
Yeah, vapor locks or helicopters. Like, you're in for a ride, baby. But if you want, check it out. But if you need anything, if you ever are looking for support or anything that I can do, if there's any way I can help anybody wanting to create content or anything like that, just let me know. And bluepegpinkpeg@gmail.com. They'll send the email on to me. Just put Patrick in the reline, and they'll make sure that I get it. And I'll get back to you. That is, I've never failed on that promise. And so just let me know. And I'm happy to help. So that's all I would add, I guess. I want to thank you for having me. It's been a great honor.
Yeah, and now I have to add that to what Patrick said, especially to podcasters, we don't get any comments to our podcast feed or anything. It's really difficult. So basically you can only give the comments in Twitter or somewhere. So please do that.
Yes.
Unless the podcast has a Discord or Slack channel or other way to
or
have a community.
a BGG guild or whatever. But reach out to your creators. And I expect after this episode releases, there will be reviews of this show. I will review it, but I'm going to let other people.
Even one is enough.
I want the rest of you to get out there and review this show. 5 stars, baby.
No, honestly, if you think it's
5
1
stars,
star,
baby.
it's 1 star. If you think
it deserves 5 stars.
Thank you, but you have to be honest.
Yes.
Please don't review
5 stars.
5 stars if you don't think it's 5 stars.
5 stars, because it deserves
it's not trustworthy.
I agree.
Yeah, but it's not trustworthy.
I
otherwise.
I agree. Rate it like you want, but it deserves 5 stars.
that I can agree. It's your opinion, but I don't understand why people say that give us 5 stars all the time. Because then, if everything is 5 stars, it kind of
skews the whole thing.
Know.
Yeah, it makes it meaningless. It makes it. I agree. It's totally meaningless.
There should be other ratings.
Because the reality is that when it comes to iTunes ratings, there are 2 ratings that people give. 5 or 1.
1 and 5.
That's it.
Yeah.
There's no in between. They either just want to troll it or they want to give your honest rating. I agree with that. I'm going to give it 5 stars because I think it's a 5-star show.
Okay, thank you. But now I have to add that this was the second time that we recorded this first part.
We did.
And now we're moving into top 9 lists soon that we recorded yesterday evening, and this is on the following day.
Yeah,
we might repeat some things that are in the next section.
Sure, because
we apologize for that. There was a glitch in the recording.
Yeah, what happened was, I'm just going to tell everybody, I did not hit record. Well,
you don't have to give the
I want to be forthright. I hit record, and then I hit record again, which turned off the recording. So I was recording when we were prepping up, so that's recorded. And then the entire episode was not recorded because I hit the button wrong. So anyways, we're doing it again. I'm a professional, baby!
There are some changes now in the content. This is a bit longer, but I don't think it matters that much to the listeners. They don't know the previous version anyway.
Sure.
But thank you for doing this, and let's go to the top 9.
Excellent.
Is it recording now?
It is.
All right. This week we have a top 9 of brain-burn games or heavy games. Or what topic did you choose?
Well, so it's kind of brain burners heavy are kind of synonymous to me, right? Because the heavy games, the games that have a lot of complexity, typically are the types that really get me like my wheels just burning. Thinking about a lot of sort of mechanics to balance that work together. So again, kind of in line with the fact that I'm converting my collection over to this heavier weight, trying to get rid of the lightweight stuff and put in some heavier weight stuff. This is really where my thinking has really been focused. These are the type of games that I really find most gratifying. They really kind of challenge me, and they let me kind of think about, and I love the design. Just the beauty of the design of a game with a lot of moving parts is just something that really appeals to me. So that's kind of where I went at it from. As I tested them against the complexity ratings on Board Game Geek. I think all of them have a 4 rating or higher. And so that was kind of where I went from. But it's not necessarily, they don't have to be a highly complex game. They're just a game that really make my brain melt. And typically that's because of games that have a heavier weight to them.
All right. How did you rank your lists, and how did you qualify the games, or did you shortlist some number of games, or how did you make it?
Yeah, I did. I came up with a list of about 30 games, and these aren't necessarily ranked in any particular order, though I will tell you my favorites at the end. They're not. There's no real ranking, but what I did was I came up with about 30 games of this type that I really, really like, and then I started eliminating stuff based upon preference, but then also based upon representativeness, right? So, for example, I had several Vital Lacerda titles on there, and so I took those off. So I had one that was kind of my favorite. I had a bunch of Uwe Rosenberg titles on there, a couple of Eklund titles on there. So I ended up kind of getting something that represented that. Some favorite publishers, like I really like What's Your Game, so I put a kind of my favorite What's Your Game title on there. So that was kind of what I did. I wanted to get some diversity, though I will say there is I don't want to spoil it, but there's one sort of kind of core theme or mechanic that definitely dominates within my list. And I'll once we get to the end of it, I'll sort of maybe reveal what that is. But that's kind of how I did it.
All right.
What about you? How did you select yours?
I thought that it's this brain burning, the topic, and I thought that which games are AP inducing to me. So which ones make me freeze and make me think a lot. And I had quite a few games, but because this is now the 8th list that we are making, or I'm making, I had to disqualify the ones that I used earlier. I wanted to do that. So there are a few missing. There's 6 games on earlier lists that would have been on this list. Well, and then there's 2 that are too old for me to remember. Like I played them so long time ago that I don't remember them.
Right.
But I think my number 1 is the one that I remember the best, freezing me a lot. Because I just played it last week.
And I respect that about your list, to like not have repetition. Because I very much like when I share stuff. back when we did the show, I would very rarely want to talk about things twice, which is kind of weird because like that presumes that people listen to the entire canon of our stuff. But I always want to introduce people to new things. Like I always want to sort of, I don't want to tread ground I've already talked about before. Like that's very stylistically where I differed from my co-host in that I always wanted to bring something new to the audience. They liked a lot of like repetition and to talk about things over long periods of time. Like it's just it's stylistically where I always want to bring something new to people, kind of in the theme of change. But anyways, I respect that a lot about your list.
Yeah. Also, because I just recorded my top 90 games of all time, these will not be in the order of which one I like the most. It will be the most bad to my brain in a way, that what makes me freeze the most.
Yeah.
Also somehow according to the how much I like them, but it's some kind of a symbiosis. I felt like this is the correct order.
Yeah.
Do you have any honorable mentions that you want to say?
Yeah, I do, list? Because of the fact that I had to get rid of some stuff that I like. I want to keep them out there. So one of them was, let's see, Fields of Arle. I think that is a great brain-burning two-player game. It's very unique in the way that it I mean, it's not unique for Uwe Rosenberg. There's a million actions you can take, and that's how he does his games. But it's unique for a two-player game, and I love the way that game sort of does action selection and just, I mean, there's so many things you can do in every Uwe Rosenberg game. That game is very much paradigmatic of that. Love that game, but I did end up taking it off for another Uwe Rosenberg game. I Signore. What's your game title that that fell off of the list because there's another one that I like more. But I like that game. I like the action selection. I like the way the different, the male and female meeples do their different things and work in different ways. I really, really like that a lot. And then finally, I took off Macau because of the fact that it wasn't quite heavy enough. But I love the compass rose. I love the planning that goes into that game. I think it's really a neat mechanic that I don't see used as much as it is. Like, that's just such an neat innovation. So anyways, those are a few of my honorable mentions that I really, really like, but they didn't quite make the cut.
I had this, the two old games that I've played too long time ago are Age of Empires 3 and Dominant Species. And especially the Age of Empires, it was earlier in my playing career, so to say, and it became like a chess because the other players had played it earlier and wanted to win, and it just took so long, and it was somehow, I don't know why was it difficult. It's not a heavy game, but it was somehow very difficult for me to play. And Dominant Species seemed impossible to plan beforehand.
Yeah.
or to do anything proper. And now I just came up with the third one, Lignum. I've played it once.
Oh wow!
And that was a bit. You need to plan everything.
You do.
I need to play it. I need to play it again. I really like the game, but I don't know how much I liked it after first play. I've only played it once.
Right. So
I totally forgot it.
That's an interesting one. So all of your honorable mentions were on my list. First of all, Dominant Species was definitely. I should have probably made it an honorable mention as well. I love that game. It is so golly. But you're right. Someone can wreck your day in that game. They bring that tundra in there, or they ice over an area, and you are just ruined, and you can't plan ahead. And it's complex. Every choice is so difficult, and it comes to your turn, and you've got to reassess the entire board state. That game, but I love that game. And then and then Lignum, I played a lot. And the thing that's so cool about that game, right? The core action, sort of just moving around the path, is so simple, right? It's this little mandala, or this little rondel, basically, that you that's super simple. But the advanced planning that everything requires will lock your brain up. It's such a lurker. And I remember I played that the last time I played it with Isaac Childress, and he crushed me so bad. It was ridiculous how much he destroyed us. He ruined us. That guy is such a monster. It was so funny how I'm pretty good at Lignum, and he embarrassed me. So anyways, love that game.
Yeah. The other games that I had to rule out because of the earlier lists are Anachrony, Spirit Island 1830, Vinhos, Kanban, and War of the Ring. And those all, or almost all, would have been in top 9 of this list.
Your game taste is
now.
perfect. You have the most impeccable. You and I are like totally simpatico when it comes to board game taste. Like everything you mention is totally in my wheelhouse.
You know, I was going to say that we will probably have a lot of crossover because I don't know if you listen to, probably you haven't listened to, but I made this top 90 list and
I've listened to some of it, yeah.
There's the intro episode, so I compare my taste to 14 other podcasters' tastes, and one of them is you.
Oh, really?
And our match is 92%.
Oh,
You
yeah.
only had 3 games in your top 50 that I don't like.
3?
And everything else I eat.
Which
yeah,
ones don't
only
you
3.
like? Wait. I'm gonna guess. Hang on.
Wait. Some I haven't played, but I also gave you a match if it's a game I haven't played, but I want to play it.
Gotcha. I probably, of the games in my top list, probably don't like Libertalia?
No, I do.
You do? Okay. Let me see. Because that's one of the, I'm trying to think about games in my list that are kind of outliers.
49, 45, and 36.
Oh, really? I'm not in it right now. What are they?
Troa, Game of Thrones, and Great Western Trail.
You don't like Great Western Trail?
No, I've only played it once and it felt solved because it just I got so good score and there was nothing. I mean, I didn't find anything new to do in the game. I thought that no, it's fine, but it's overrated.
Yeah. So that's interesting that you take that because I did not like Great Western Trail that much. I gave it the lowest rating of all of us when we reviewed it, and I was kind of lukewarm to it. And then I had a buddy who got the expansion, and he just insisted and kept insisting that I play it. And I kept playing with him. That game is one of the games that has grown in my esteem the most. It would have been nowhere not within shouting distance of my top 50 when I first played it. But it really, really grew on me. The expansion is essential. It's absolutely essential. It requires, that's where the choices really come. It should have been in the base game. I would encourage you to give it another go, and just kind of. I think you might find it because at least for me, I really was just kind of so on it, but it really grew in my esteem. So, anyways, but that I can see that. That's a fair assessment. Well, you want to get into you want me to start, or you want to start?
I have one more.
Honorable mention.
Honorable mention, and this is people think that this is a light game, but this is Prolopolis, and it's light if you just try to put the cards to the table if you play it solo. But if you try to win the game, it can sometimes make you AP so much. I played it 40 minutes one time because I wanted to win. I was annoyed to the game because I couldn't win the solo. I don't know if you've played it, but it was so annoying. I got so stuck with the game.
What's it called?
It's just 18 cards. Sprolopolis.
Oh, Sprolopolis. Yeah, I've played that. Yeah. It is. There's an optimal play.
It froze me so bad when I wanted to win.
Sprolopolis absolutely has. There is the thing that makes Sprolopolis AP. I totally agree with you. Is there is an optimal play. If a computer played that game, it would get the most points. Like you can max out the points on that game, no doubt about it. And there's a lot of options. You've got to calculate a lot of things to figure it out. I can totally see that.
Yeah. But people think it's not heavy, but it can really freeze you.
I agree.
And yeah, we go one by one, from 9 to 1.
All right.
And until now, we've had this, how can I say, tradition. You can do your voice acting now because the guest has been allowed to try to be Eric Summerer and announce the number.
Yep, I got it.
But you can do your way.
I got it.
You can do the voice acting.
Yep.
Change your voice or whatever you want.
All right, I got it.
Verbling or
I was ready for
so
this.
You announce the number. Okay. So
I was ready
prepared.
for this. Number 9. That's it, right? That's it, right?
Yeah.
Number 9. So
yeah, go on.
for my number 9, I thought that was pretty. I was expecting a little more. You like saying, "Wow, that was incredible," but that's all right. So my number
Happy
nine,
now?
my number 9 is a Spielworks title by Rola Costa, I think is the designer. It's hard to get, and I don't have it, though a friend of mine does, and I get to play it with him, and I really, really love playing it. It's Yinzi. It's set in ancient China, I believe, and the players have to build factories and then build fields or various resources in order to supply those factories to supply markets. There's some really interesting, you get 9 cards, you play all 9 of those cards throughout the course of the game to various action spaces. They tell you how strong or how many actions you can take on a particular turn. There's a lot of interesting sort of interplay of bonus actions. You've got a lot of things you have to do as far as planning out, harvesting stuff. You can use other people's factories, so there's ways that you can plan out so that other people are using your factory. There's a war element that kind of everybody has to contribute to that sort of adds a little interesting choices to the game. It's just a neat, really densely packed game, cool market economy that I just love. I love the way it works together. I love every time this friend and I are in person together, we always play that game, and I just think it's a great title. I think it's really just got a really cool style. I love it. It's just it melts me into a puddle every time, and I just love playing it. So that's Yinzi by Spielworks.
It's interesting game. I haven't played it. It was at one point it was in discount in Philibert. I think they were selling the Spielworks games on discount, but I chose between that and Captains of the Gulf, and I took Captains of the Gulf.
No, that's a good choice. By the way,
don't know.
There's a
I
new.
know, it's
He's
a
got
good game.
Jason's got a new title coming out with Spielworks.
Yeah. I noticed. It should come next year, I think.
Yep.
I want to play Yinzi when I have the chance, but I don't have any friends who are into Spielworks titles.
Yeah.
I'm the heavy gamer in this.
Well, next
city
time,
at least currently.
when the world opens up, I have plans to travel to Europe. When I do, I'll have to. We'll get together and we'll play. I will pack Yinzi in my. I'll get a copy. Pack Yinzi in my bag. That'll be the one thing I'll carry. I will pay the price. I will give up the luggage space so you and I can play.
All right. So welcome if you come to Finland. You're welcome.
Absolutely.
All right. My number 9 is. I didn't say a moment ago. I had 8 and 9 on my list games that I thought that I might not be able to explain enough. They were Crystal Palace and Pret-a-Porter, but I didn't remember that why I froze in them. But this one, number 9, is Trajan, and this is. It's not a heavy game. It's not a difficult game, but when you try to make combo with the pieces on your board, when you try to make it so that they combo and you get extra actions and extra everything, you might freeze a few times. And I've noticed that with this Mancala mechanism, it might be a bit bad for me, especially in multiplayer games. 2-player it's fine, but if there's more, it's sometimes unbearable.
It is a game that will lock you up. That Mancala, trying to put together the combos of the cubes to get your Trajan actions out. It can really. You're right. The game's not overly complex as far as the options that available to you, but that one element, that one mechanic, can really lock you up. And just like the numbers and counting everything out and thinking through the combinations and setting up the plays for the future rounds. It's
especially setting up the plays. If you try to you move this now and then you move this and then you move this, you can think like 3 turns in advance.
Absolutely.
And taking those turns that way, you think the advanced turns, they might take long because you have so many options to choose and what to think and how to do and everything.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good choice. It's a good choice. And it's a good game, too. It's a good game.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
we ready? Ready for number 8?
Yeah.
Number 8! All right.
Wow.
There you go. That's what I was looking for. So my number 8 is my Capstone title. That I love Capstone, and I'm telling you what, they are killing it this year. They have some great titles out this year. I've loved.
And last year.
Yeah. I mean, they've had a few games that sort of fell flat for me, but generally speaking, if Clay, selects it and wants to bring it out and wants to publish it, you mentioned Crystal Palace. That's a great title. But this one is the Stefan Risthaus title, Arkwright. It is probably my favorite engine builder game of all. The way the market economy, the employment economy works is really hard to plan out. It really requires a lot of forethought. The way you can split off in different directions, it feels. I think Food Chain Magnate is a great game in its way, but it's got some very, very optimal plays that makes it a less than ideal play game in my mind. Arkwright does that better. It gives you your choices. You can select how you want to go and how you want to develop your industry through the various upgrades. I just love the game. I love playing it. I love the layout of the style of the game. I just think it's a great title. So Arkwright by Stefan Risthaus, just a spectacular brain-melting game.
I have 3 questions for you.
Sure.
What's your favorite player number for this?
For Arkwright, probably 3.
Have you played City of the Big Shoulders?
No, not yet. Not at all. I haven't. I want to.
Have you played any 18xx games?
Yes, I have played some 18xx games. I've played 1833, 1844, I think is what it's called. An old Lookout title. And I've played some of the light 18xx, like Irish Rail and such. I think I might like 18xx games. And I've heard, my friends have told me that I will love City of the Big Shoulders.
You will, but play it with the expansion.
Okay.
Because I've been playing it in Board Game Arena now, like 3 times. They just got it in the summer.
Yep.
It works very well, but because it doesn't have all the companies that come in the expansion, it's becoming a bit stale in a way.
Interesting.
But if you want, we can play it in Board Game Arena. Actually,
I'd be down for that.
It has
Absolutely.
a good implementation there. And the last question: did you back the Arkwright the card game?
No, I didn't know that it existed.
It was in Kickstarter at the end of summer.
Oh, yeah, I missed it.
Grand Gamers Guild, I think.
Really? Oh, they're one of the.
Yeah.
I feel bad. They're one of the sponsors of the show.
I know. That's why I asked.
No, but I'm into it.
Yeah.
Grand Gamers Guild.
I think it was Grand Gamers Guild, but anyway, it was in Kickstarter, end of the summer. I didn't back it because the delivery costs were about the same as the game.
Gotcha.
So I wait for the retail, but I will definitely get it.
Oh, excellent. Well, if it is Grand Gamers Guild, I might reach out to them on your behalf.
Yeah, I thought that it would be enough if I comment on this Richard Simpson's, this We're Not Wizards review. He had a great review on that, by the way.
Oh, really?
If you ever have 10-15 minutes of time in YouTube, he has a great video review on
I should check it out.
You should check it out.
Yeah, I was on his show a while back, and I heard him on your show. He did the 9. He did the Change. He did one of these episodes. He's a great guy.
Yeah, he was the first one.
Yep.
Because I was on his show, and he's the only one who took me as a guest, so I gave him the first spot.
But
I promised him.
He's a good interviewer. I like him a lot.
Yeah, and he's a great guy also.
Yeah, he seems like it.
And yeah, he's. So he has a good review on that.
So what's your number 8?
My number 8 is Newton, and.
Yep.
In my top 90 list, I said that this is not that difficult. It says 3.4 in Board Game Geek. It is like 2.5. Then we played it 4 players, and I had to cancel what I said in the next episode. But this is not that brain freezing. But when I play this kind of a game, where you choose the cards, I try to make the whole round ready. I mean, I plan so far ahead that my turn can take a long time. But then I play the remaining turns quickly.
Right.
And this is that kind of a game that in some instances during the game, it takes really a lot of brain power to decide what you're doing next and the next and the next. And then when you figure it out, then you can execute it.
Yep.
This is a very interesting style of game, in my opinion, from Cranio Creations and Simon Luciani and Nestore Mangone. and I tend to like their games actually.
Yeah, that's
Not all, but most of them.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. You and I play very much the same way. I will have if the game allows for it, and that is I will have a turn where it may take a while, but for the next 5 turns after it, I will be the most efficient. It'll take me 1 second because I'm thinking through everything that comes forward, and if if it's not a game where there's a big change in game state, then I will play. I'll get it all played out and boom, 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 boom. I like to try to think whenever I can. I like to think about as many moves as I can because that's how the interactions work. That's a great game. Newton is one that I enjoy, and it can definitely lock you up for sure.
Yeah. In some spots, not the whole game,
Sure.
but in some spots,
Sure.
it can really freeze you.
Sure. All right. Number 7.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So for number 7, I'm going to go back to a classic. We talked about Uwe Rosenberg, and this is Le Havre. Probably my favorite Uwe Rosenberg title. I really like Fields of Arle, as I said. I really like Feast for Odin. But I just love all of the incredible options, all those cards, all those awesome cards that come out, the buildings, all the neat buildings, the choices about, and it's so punishing. That game, being able, it's your classic feed the workers, and just thinking through having enough food and getting everything in place, trying to get those cruise liner ships out late in the game so you can get those big points, setting up the plays so you can take advantage of other people's building buildings so that other people will come to them. I just think it's a great game, super fiddly, and a game that, in fact, I have the app for, and I like to play the app as much as I like to play it in person because of all the stuff to manage. But I think Le Havre is a great game, and my Lord, the choices you have to make. That game is punishing and can really stress you out, but I love it.
Yeah. This, I forgot. This might have been at the bottom of my list.
Yeah.
Because this also, you have to think a bit, because you have different amount of turns in a round before the feeding especially. So I like this with 3. I just played it 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. And 2 players have 3 turns and 1 has 2, if I remember right. That's with right. 3 players. So if you're the one with 2, those 2 turns are really important, especially if you have to feed. And the others have 3, so you really have to think what you're doing already on the previous round.
Yeah.
And that's really crunchy in this game, in my opinion, and it's very well done.
Yes.
I like it a lot.
I do too. God, he is such a genius. So what's your number 7?
Definitely. My number 7 is 5 Tribes.
Ooh.
And this is not heavy game, but especially in the beginning of the game.
Yes.
The earlier the game is, the more annoying it is, because there are these meeples that you move. Again, this Mancala mechanism at its best or the worst, depends how you think.
Sure.
You move them when you have this million of options on the board in the beginning of the game. Your turns can take really, really long. And if your thought process is interrupted in a crucial place, you think again from the beginning, and again, and again. And it's really annoying at sometimes.
Yeah.
This is a 2-player game for me, definitely, because of the bidding mechanism also, that you have 2 turns. You can basically have 4 turns in a row if it goes like that, but usually it doesn't go like that.
Yeah.
But 3 is possible. And I really like this. Especially the end game is really quick, but the beginning, all the choices you have to think.
Yeah.
This is a really good game, and I want to play this very soon.
Yeah, and
I haven't played it for a while.
A game that plays well by itself, but benefits from most of its expansions. I'm kind of ambivalent about the Thieves expansion, but the other expansions, especially the mountains, they really can just wreck you. Like it's getting around those mountains with that expansion is. Yeah, you're right about that. It is a game that has the interesting inverse sort of kind of mechanic of later in the game, it moves really, really fast because obviously there are fewer options available to you. But yeah, in that early game when you're trying to set up that big blue play, or you're trying to maximize, get that right, gin, it can be a real. And you're right, your game you plan something out. This is a game that I like to with fun curse my opponents out in creative and florid ways, and all in good fun. But it is a game that definitely provokes me, just being like because it'll whew, they can ruin your plan. You've been thinking about it, you got something going on, you're like, now I got to start completely over. Yep. Great selection.
Yeah, it would be good to have a stick so you can hit their fingers if they're trying to take what you're trying to take.
No.
Yeah, it's fun with 2 players because I play it with the wife, but with 3 players it gets a bit brutal and annoying.
Oh yeah, for sure. All right. Number 6. So for my number 6, I went with another Spielworks title, and that is Deluvia Project by Alexandra Garcia.
By the way, that Arkwright is also Spielworks.
Oh, what is?
Arkwright is also originally Spielworks.
Right. It is. Because that's right. I think about it as Capstone because of, obviously, I'm here in the U.S. But yeah, that's a Spielworks as well. I like Spielworks. I mean, actually, I think Spielworks, that may be another one that didn't make it on my list that I really like is Great Zimbabwe. I think that's a Spielworks title.
That's Plotter.
Splotter? Okay. I like that game a lot, too. But Deluvia Project, this is a wonky little game with a cool little action selection mechanic where you kind of select, very competitive, great interaction between the players as far as which actions you want to take and how you want to build up your floating mechanism. The tile laying is really kind of thinky. You really have to think through kind of where things go. I think it's innovative in just a lot of neat, interesting ways. And it's just got such a weird look and feel to it. I think it's just such a strange little title, but just innovative in a lot of the best ways. So that's Deluvia Project by Alexandria Garcia. Just a fun, wonky little game.
All right, I haven't played this.
It's a good one. It's weird. It's got the ways that you select your actions and it impacts the ways that other players can select. It's just really kind of strange and it's just it's got this. You got to trace stuff through these different tiles that you lay. It's a neat game. It's really, really cool.
My number 6 is I think third game that I wrote a review on. Actually, Crystal Palace was the first one that I ever wrote a review to Board Game Geek. And this is the third one. This is Cooper Island. And this is also from Capstone. And this is actually... Clay gave the game to me because they had a dented copy in Spiel. And I asked that, can I get it? He said that, is it okay if it's dented? I said that, are you crazy? Of course it's fine. And in this game, you have so many options. And you don't have many workers to do the things with, because you begin with 2 if I remember right, and then you can get more and they can become specialized workers, and you have million things that you should do but you can't. You have only a few things that you can do during the whole game, and you have to really think what to do at what time, and you have to have a clear goal in your mind that you try to reach during the game. And if you can't, then you're screwed, because then you won't win the game unless the other players are bad at playing the game. But this is, you have to plan and then you have to execute the plan, and in a way this makes the brain burn, but it makes the brain burn in a good way. Yeah. And I really like this game.
Yeah, it's one of, I haven't played it yet. I think the guys reviewed it. It's one of the few games that they reviewed that I didn't get to play with them. And I really look forward to playing. They loved it. They just said it was a great little, again, just very taxing game, but they really enjoyed it a lot.
No, this also had to be on the list because the topic of my review is forget sunburn, on this island you brain burn. So it has to go to the list.
All right, let's see. Number 5. So for my number 5, this is my What's Your Game entry. That is Nippon by Nuno Bazaro, Santiago and Paulo Soledad. It's it's probably. I mean, a lot of people I think like Madeira. That's another great What's Your Game title. But for me, Nippon, just the ways that you have to. The area control components of it, the sort of building up the capacity in your factories, making them able to produce these more complex, goods. The interaction between the players and the choices that other people make, the spaces that they take, and how you want to take advantage. Get on the different islands and work your advantages. I just love this game. I think it really plays well. I think it ports well to BGA. And I like the look of it. So I just think it's a really fluid and elegant game. So Nippon by What's Your Game? That's probably my favorite of their titles.
All right, I agree with you. Not being the favorite, but I agree with you.
Which is your favorite?
And
you're a big What's Your Game guy. What's your favorite of theirs?
Just hold on a moment. Nippon also, I played it in BGA in the summer, and I noticed that this timing, I mean, you have to really watch the other players.
Uh-huh.
You really have to watch the other players, and it was not that easy in BGA, so I screwed my own game because I was consolidating too slow.
Gotcha.
I mean, I was making for this big consolidations, and I screwed my own game, but this is a great game. And my favorite is Madeira, which is my number 5. And I chose this because I think this has more, how can I say, this is more crucial because you only have three actions in your turn.
Yep.
Unless you have bread and workers to use for the pirate die. And this is also by Nuno Bizarro Sentiero and Paulo Soledad, and I really like these designers.
Yeah.
They are one of my favorite designer pairing or group.
Yep.
Or even among the single designers.
Yep.
And here you look at the map and think that what am I doing? Then you have certain dice that you can use for certain actions, and then you can adjust with the bread and such. And the more often you play this, the easier it becomes. But the first place, it's ridiculously difficult to grok this game.
Yeah.
And you just have to, even in the very beginning, you have to choose very carefully what scoring tiles you take, because you have to score everything that you take, and you score 6 tiles during the whole game, and it's and you can't give anything for free for anyone.
No.
So it's really, really annoying. We're actually playing with the guys from Punchboard Paradise, and then Chris from he's from Botswana Games Club, and Richie from the Punchboard Paradise guys, he got this scoring the guilds 2 times, and he has 4 guilds already, so he will win that game because of that. He got 40 points for free, and 40 points is more than half you get in this game or half you get in this game. And
yeah, well, it's
this
interesting.
is really, really brain-burning game, but I really like it.
Yeah, it's interesting you chose that, because those are the 2 that I would probably flip-flop, I mean, I like Signore, but Madeira is the better game for sure. But of the 2, my 2 top What's Your Game titles are Nippon and Madeira for sure. They're just
same here.
They're great titles. Excellent. All right.
But I don't know which one is third one. I think Reef Encounter is my third one. But from these big box games, I think Signori or Changuo is the third one.
Yeah.
Even Railroad Revolution is cool.
Yeah.
With the evolution.
Yeah, I've heard that didn't they just they just have an expansion on that, right? They recently.
Yeah, last spiel, yes.
Yeah. Excellent. All right, number 4. Well, for my number 4, I'm going with my Eklund pick, Phil and Matt Eklund by Sierra Madre. I'm going to go with Pax Porfiriana. It's so interesting what he does with that big old stack of cards. This is you're playing, I can't remember what they're called, but they're American industrialists going into basically take advantage of Mexico and exert power and influence over the government. It's a very interesting game thematically. It definitely is a game that has a point of view, which I love. The way the game works, you get cards, you play these cards down, and you have to pay for them. But the ways that the cards kind of make up the game space. You know, there are spaces that you'll build that will produce income for you. You place different things on different places in order to kind of show what they do. But you also will play cards on other people's cards that will make a riot or make a coup or something like that where they become unable. Then you have to play your militia cards onto them to be able to, you know, clear that up, or you can deal with other people's militia cards to impact their spaces. It's just a neat kind of way that he gets so much out of these cards. I just love the way that works. I think it's got some really interesting, the political states as they change can really change the game state up. I just love this game. I like a lot of Eklund's games. I mean, High Frontier among them, but High Frontier is just so beyond, you know. That game is just so, like, that's beyond brain burning. That's like, you know, life altering. But and I don't play it enough to have a strong, I mean, I like it, but I don't feel like comfortable talking about it, you know, after 2 plays. But I just like Pax Porfiana. I think it's Porfiana. It's however it's pronounced. Though I haven't played Porfiana. Yeah, I haven't played Pax Mimir yet, so I'm looking forward to doing that. But anyways, that's mine. My number 4.
But Pax Mimir is Cole Verley, isn't it? It's not an Eklund game.
Oh, it's not an Eklund game. That's right.
I think it's Cole Verley's game.
You're right. It is a Cole Verley game. You're exactly correct.
Yeah, I just played Pax Transhumanity again after Spiel, and it's the first game in maybe 3 years that I've played 2 times in a row that lasts more than an hour.
Yeah.
And that was very good. I thought that for the list, but it's the same with Pax Porfiriana. I think that it's not that heavy when you understand the game. But learning the game, especially in this Porfiriana, with the different cards and different symbols and different side where the woman is with the flag on the place, that where you can attack and how you can attack and how you... it's so difficult. But when it clicks, it's like boom, 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 boom. It's like really... like a, that's why I didn't include them. Both of them would have been on the list. I mean, they were very good contenders. I thought about them, but I thought that they were not heavy enough or like a difficult enough.
Yeah, I agree with that. But there's so much going on with them, so many moving parts, and I mean, it's insane what this guy does with a little box of cards. Greenland and you know, he's a biogenesis. You know, he's just a remarkable mind, and I have great admiration for his design sensibility.
Yeah, the Iron Game Studios actually told me that I can order one of each of their games with a review discount, so I ordered one of each of their games with a review discount.
Yeah.
It wasn't free, but I got them with a discount, so I have one of each of their games on the shelf.
That's awesome.
So that's actually cool. I haven't played all of them because you need time to make a group agree to play with them, but these 2 Paxes I've played for now, and Pax Emancipation is the next one on the row.
Yeah, I have a buddy who, there are 2 guys I play these games. I always play them 3, same 2 guys, always. I rarely play them with anybody else.
It has to be like that.
Yep, because we're all on the same page. We all understand the game the same. Because if it's the sort of game that if you play with someone who's not as experienced, they're not really playing the same game, you know? They're just not involved in the same way you are.
Yeah, and if you have to teach all the time someone new for this whole Pax system, it will be ridiculous. If you play Pax Porfiriana with one group and Transhumanity with one group, Emancipation with one, Renaissance with one, and the coming Viking with one, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So I want to have like 4 or 5 victims that all know how the Pax system works, and then I can just try to play.
Pax Porfiriana is the ugliest game. It's like you know, it's like the original version of for the other card game, the great card game, Rome.
Glory
to Rome. It's like ugh, it's gross. It's not a great looking game. Phil, you're a great game designer. I wouldn't be the artist of your games if I were you. Let somebody else do it.
But come on, it's not that ugly.
It's just so weird. It's
suitable for the time.
Yeah, sure. It's clip art.
For the time it happened in Mexico. It looks like that time, and like
the
art is done at that time.
But it's dripping with theme. Like, I mean, good night. I love that. I'll give him credit.
Yeah, that's true. but maybe some color choices and others could have been thought over.
Yeah, some weird colors. So what's your number 4?
My number 4 is Arkwright.
Ah!
And you already talked about this, so I just say that I agree with everything you've said. I still haven't played the Waterfront version, but I should play it.
Yeah.
I played only with the spinning Jenny, but with some of the tiles added.
Yeah.
So it's like some kind of a midway.
Yeah,
because spinning Jenny seemed too easy.
Yeah,
too light.
It's you got it. The game is spinning Jenny is a good way to become familiar with it, but beyond that, go play full on because it's just so great.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and this takes, because you have to plan again. This is the planning thing. You have to plan, and if you make a mistake at some point, maybe 2-3 times, you're out of the game.
Yeah. You can definitely. That's the downside of this game is that if you bury yourself, you're in for a lot of game where you're not going to win this game. You're playing to learn new mechanics. Like I've made bad choices in that game and been like, all right, well, I guess I'll just kind of explore this and see how many points I can get, knowing I'm not going to win this game. So yeah. All right, number 3. All right. Well, for number 3, I'm going to hit my Vital Lacerda title by Eagle Griffin. I love his designs. They're all wonderful. His partnership with Ian O'Toole is legendary. Of all of the titles of his, though, that I love the most is Lisboa. I think Lisboa is...
So we can do this together then. My number 3 is Lisboa also.
Yeah. Great. A near perfect game.
Exactly.
The way you play the card actions, the different ways to play the card actions as far as how you're going to play them, the spatial element of developing the city, the management of the resources, just the way it scores. There's so many beautiful things in this game on top of being just gorgeous. Just a stunningly attractive game. Love Lisboa.
I don't understand how someone can complain about the art. It's so good looking and so vibrant, and Ian O'Toole did a great job with this.
I agree.
And also everything interlocks so perfectly together that you have every turn you have to think, will I do this or this? But if I do this, then that happens, which results in that, and then that, and it's so many crunchy decisions. I really like this game.
Yeah. It is just, God, it's so good. I'll always play it, and I got a buddy who holds me up to that. He loves Lisboa too, and he brings it a lot, and so I get to play it a lot, and I still love it. I've probably played this game. I don't play a lot of games 20 plus times, and I've played this one 20 plus times, and really, really love it.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it is. All right, number 2. Well, I'm going to go to a classic and another one that does a lot with a little as far as elements and features, like components. And that is Through the Ages, the new version by Vlata Schwadl, published by CGE, Czech Games Edition. This game is just, golly, Pete. And all the new content is just great as well. But just the way that you use these cards... And it's the perfect Civ builders. I love Civ builders. They're probably my favorite sort of style of game. The neat choices, the diversity of options, ability to be able to change your governing style and the implications that has upon your gameplay, the personalities and how they impact your gameplay, the balance of the different features, the need to kind of manage your military and develop and all of this is with cards. The corruption element, the fact that you have to balance your prosperity out in a way that really is interesting, and that one element is just really, really a powerful limiting feature upon the game. It is a spectacular title, and I really love playing it. The new, I've just recently gotten some of the expansion material, and it breathes so much life into it. So Through the Ages by Vlata Schwadl, just love that game.
Have you played this with the app?
I have the app. I think it's a pretty good app. I like do the challenges and that sort of stuff. So I enjoy it.
It's a really good app.
Yeah, it is, and it helps you develop your skills.
I mostly play it with the app.
Yeah. It helps you develop your skills too. You can definitely
Yes.
like it runs you through different. The tasks are really neat because they make you kind of exercise muscles you otherwise wouldn't exercise. Yeah, good game, really good game.
Did you join the World Championships? They just began in the summer.
No, I didn't.
I think Czech Games Edition were organizing it themselves, so that there were hundreds of people playing around the world, and they were playing online somewhere, and then they make a real tournament. A friend of mine joined it, but I have no idea how's it going now. But this is also good in Board Game Arena. You should play it if you want to play it.
Yeah, I'd play it with you.
Or whoever is listening.
Board Game Arena, I'd be up for that.
All right.
Yeah,
I have to set up quite a few games, actually.
That's fine, man. I'm down for it. I've been doing a lot of remote gaming during the COVID times, and that has been one of the upsides. I've gotten to play with remote people who live far away from me quite a bit. Been playing some stuff on Tabletop Simulator and Tabletopia. David of Man vs. Meeple and I get together and play a lot of games that way, and it's a good way to. That's been the one offshoot, is that because I don't have as many people to play with in person, I've gotten to play more remotely. So yeah, we should definitely do some BGA. And through the ages, I'd love to play. I'll lose, you'll win, but I'm not great at the game. I'm okay, but I play with some very accomplished players, I think, and there's a couple of games I play with some people that play it a lot more than I do, and I just resign myself to doing my best and not winning.
Yeah, but that's what is enough.
Sure.
We have to remember this Rainer Knizia's saying that it's not the win, it's the journey.
I agree. So what's your number 2?
Yeah. My number 2 is not a very heavy game, but this is Paladins of the West Kingdom. And this froze me in a way that no other similar type of game has frozen me, because you're all the time running out of workers, you have to do many things, and then the other players go and they take the place from the middle that you didn't want them to take, and you have to rethink everything again, because that ruins your whole round. And this is just... I don't think I will ever play this with more than 2. It was a mistake to play it with 3, I think. Because it took almost 3 hours. It was ridiculous. And on the last turn I'm placing these here, done, I'm out. I had to go out of the room because the others were thinking also so long. I got so annoyed with the game. It took so long.
Did you like it though?
And it was a learn. Yes, I like it, but I don't think I will ever play it with more than 2.
Yeah. I like Paladins a lot. I think of all of the of his trilogy series games, and I think that's probably my favorite. It has the most meat on the bones for sure.
Yes.
I mean, I like Explorers in the Runestone trilogy because it's light. And my son really liked it a lot. It was one of the it's a game I can still play with him. But as far as for me, like just what I like in the game, Paladins is probably my favorite of all of them that he's done so far.
Yeah, I haven't played any from the Vikings part, but I like this more than Architects.
Yeah, for sure. Excellent. All right, and now we move on to our number 1. And this actually probably is right now my favorite game. I don't know it'll stay that right now, but it's the game I'm enjoying. I mean, it's not my favorite game of all time, but it's the game I'm enjoying playing the most right now, and that is Barrage by Tommaso Battista and Simone Luciani by Cranio. I play it with the the expansion, because I really do like those buildings that you can build. I love the advanced planning in this game. I love the need to connect everything together and how difficult it can be to get everything to click, but how rewarding it can be when you get that big 5 and you pull down 3 drops through 5 and you create all that power and you bump it up with some bonuses. It's just so cool. I just have a really fun time with this game. I think it's beautifully rendered. The components are just gorgeous. So my number 1 game in this type is Barrage right now. I'm just having a great time with it.
This is in my to buy list.
It's so fun, man.
And I don't know where to get it because it's a bit run run out in Europe. At least the English version is a bit difficult to find from here.
Yeah.
I'm waiting it to be back in stock.
Yeah,
I really
it'll
want
be
to
back
play
in
this.
stock eventually. It's out of stock here too. Josh got it for me from his store early on, and I have really enjoyed playing it. Probably taught it like 6 times. I've played this a ton. It's when it comes back in stock, and it will. You definitely need to catch it. But I would say, like, go ahead, pay the $100. Whatever. It was like $100 for us, whatever the equivalent would be for you. It's probably in that range. I'd go ahead and just invest in the whole thing because I think the expansion really adds a lot of great options to it. And just the thing about the game that's so cool is that the way you lock up your resources over time and you can change the actions that are available to you. Just really neat game. A lot of cool stuff going on with it. So Barrage, really one I had anticipated for years. I'd been waiting for a couple of years. And it was so nice to have it not disappoint.
That's good. My number 1 is something that I played 1 week ago. I know you like it. I heard you talk about it in your show. And this is Argent, the Consortium.
Ugh. Talk about a brain burner. Holy cow.
Yeah, I played this once. And this is... let's say that there are too many options.
There are that game is the most, with the possible exception of Cerebria. I think Cerebria is another one that kind of has too much going on. I love Argent, but it's got too much going on. And when you add some of that expansion content in there, because Rob's got everything, holy cow!
Yep.
The game blows your mind.
Yeah, even without the expansion, we played this 3-player and there were times that everyone were just staring. Nothing was happening.
Yeah.
And it's actually interesting that the first turns you just do something. In the mid game you think a lot what to do, and at the end of the game you know what you have to do. So it's very interesting how this works.
Yep. It's very interesting because by in game you got a pretty good sense of where the majorities are going to shake out, and so you move pretty quick. But you're right, that middle game is just like you are frozen because all these rooms are out there and all these options are out there and the various ways you can do. Every room has multiple options. It's just insane. But it is a great.
And you don't have enough emblems. You might have one emblem where you can do the best action in the room, and then at the end you might have more, and it's really really brain burning. But I want to play it again soon before I forget it.
Yeah,
this might be a great game, or this might be a good game.
Yeah, I have enjoyed it. I have definitely had plays of it that were not fun. Like I have played it where we had too much stuff in there, and it was like okay. It took too long, but generally speaking, I have a great time with this game. But you're right. It is a lot of thinking going on, and it can definitely lock some people up. It is AP to the extreme, and so you got to be comfortable with the fact that people are going to be thinking. But it is a fun game. Well,
yeah. I was actually thinking that I'm becoming a bit masochist because just 2 days ago I played Tekhenu first time, and oh my god, learning that game was really difficult. But then it began flowing, so I thought that it's not difficult enough to go to this list.
Yeah.
But
it
seems that my Thursday board game clubs goes for these nowadays.
Well, so I earlier in the episode I mentioned the fact that I'm going to be doing a episode with Blue Peg, Pink Peg in the future. I'm going to give you guys a early release. Tekhenu is the game we're reviewing. It's going to be a featured review game. Okay. So yeah, I've enjoyed that. But you're right, the teach is a bunch to sort out. Yeah. But once you start clicking with it, it does move very smoothly.
Yes.
It's a good game. It's a solid title. I've played it probably 5 times now, and I'm still interested to play it some more.
Yeah, I think it might have a bit more wings in a way that it stays a bit longer interesting than Teotihuacan did.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Because I played Teotihuacan now in Board Game Arena 2 times, and it became a bit stale. Mm-hmm. I should play it with the expansion. I have the expansion, but I think Tekhenu will have more variation.
I think that's I think that's right, because Teotihuacan definitely flattened out for me. It became very, like what you're going to do, like how you want to play that game, and you really play it the same way. I think Techno forces your hand because of the way the dice work out, forces your hand to think more about how your choices are going to, so it keeps it engaging longer. And those ability cards add a lot of interesting options too. The fact that you can draft those cards and use them in different ways really adds something to the game.
And there are so many cards, also these tech cards and the blessings, and you can combine them, and all of them are OP, and depending on the situation, they are ridiculous amount of points and everything.
Yep, it's a good game. I think they great design sensibilities from those guys. I'm really pleased with when dice boards and dice. When they changed over, they were who were they? But what were they before? NSKN, which I liked the guys at NSKN, and I liked some of their designs. But when they went over to the boards and dice, they really they said, we're here to play. Like, we're here to design games that are going to really get people's attention. It felt like their other games were half baked in some ways. I liked them a lot. I enjoyed them, but I felt like they hadn't quite gotten to their. But when they changed over, their production quality really went up, and their design started just really clicking. They have some really Dice Settlers, I think, is an underrated game. I think a game that really is solid. I thought that Sierra, what was the one? Sierra West. Sierra West, I thought was a solid title. And then this one is really, I think it's going to really hit. Yeah. I think it's going to be a hit.
I still want to play
Trismegistus.
You say it.
Yeah. That's one of their titles. Yeah, I had a fun time with Trismegistus. It didn't appeal to everybody because of the fact that it is a lot to work through, but I've enjoyed it a lot. I mean, I've really had a fun time with it. So.
Yeah. I actually asked for a review copy for that, but this guy responsible there said that they don't have extra, but he sent me Sierra West and Escape Tales Low Memory.
Yeah.
But I haven't been able to play the Escape Tales yet, and Sierra West I have to still try one more time before I know what I think about it.
Yeah.
I think for now, I think that it took too long for what it is.
I think
it should play quicker.
I think you're right.
It freezes the brain. It also freezes your brain a lot.
Yeah.
And I was thinking for this list. It's not heavy game, but you can really become frozen.
Yeah, it's too much. You're right. It's too much for what it is. I agree. It's a good design. It's fine, but it could have used. I think it could use some editing. I think they could have edited it a little bit better. Is my take on it. But I think they're great. They're really. I think they're up and coming. I mean, they're doing very well. But I think that they've got a lot of great things in front of them. That's a publisher house to definitely keep your eyes on.
It's one of the hottest publishers at the moment,
for sure.
And it's probably in my top 9 publishers. I wish one of the guests would say that. Let's make top 9 publishers, but no. Not yet.
Oh,
let's see.
That would be fun.
I have some hopes.
Yeah,
I want to do that list, but
yeah, if I were to, let's say, who are some publishers that could support something like that? Like definitely like Asmodee, obviously they've got a lot of really great titles. Capstone, I think, is in a place where they could probably support a top 9 list. Yeah, Stronghold. I don't know. There's a lot of publishers. I agree with that. That's a good thought. Oh well. I just been thinking so much about heavy games recently. I felt like it would be fun to kind of dig into it with you.
Yeah, we have top 9 Stronghold titles because Stefan Ponogor was here on the 6th episode, no 5th. He was the 5th guest. So
I haven't heard that yet.
He chose. No, it's not out yet,
it's not.
but it will be out.
Okay.
There's one more, and then Stefan. Next week it will be available.
Perfect.
From this recording.
Perfect. Well, it has been such a pleasure talking to you, man. I am so sorry about.
Yeah, those were my words.
Yeah. So, are we all? I mean, I'm gonna. Can I stop recording now?
Wait.
Oh.
I will put these lists against each other.
Okay.
So there will be a battle.
Perfect.
What do you think of your chance of winning? We have quite similar lists.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm fine with either way, to be honest with you, because it's fun to hear your. I mean, I would be happy with either of these lists. I don't know who I would vote for.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough I think it's going to be a draw at the end of the day. I think we have got pretty similar list here. I think there's some bangers in both. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I can't predict who's going to win. I think that I'd be okay with losing in this case because I think they're a pretty solid list.
We have 2 crossovers, and you have 3 games I haven't played. You have Yinzi and Deluvia Project and Barrage, and all of them I would happily play.
Yeah.
But so I don't really know.
Yeah.
I think these are quite even.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we've done a good job on these. I think they're kind of in that high Bernie weight, but still accessible. You know, like again, you could do like a 19XX list, but that's not accessible to most people. You know, like there's a very limited sort of universe of game players. Now, this is not to say that these titles would be on any. You know, there's a lot of people who wouldn't be up for this, but these are games I think that if you're into the hobby, like they're all worth at least giving a try. You know.
Yes. Especially if you're not a newcomer to the hobby.
Yeah.
In the hobby for a while.
Yeah. I wouldn't I wouldn't. These are nowhere near gateway. If you want to get somebody to never play games with you, start them with one of these titles. It's like it's all the cliches of designer board game hobbies, like the 30-minute teach, the 40-minute teach. You know. Oh, but wait, there's an exception to that rule. Oh, and there's an exception to that exception. You know, but.
Yeah, that's true. So anyway, thank you for joining.
Sure.
And
it has been a great pleasure.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah.
And let's see what happens to the first part.
Yeah. Well, so are we
add some edit notes before we end? Where can people find you if they want to find you?
Oh, I don't know where.
Or should they find you?
Well, I don't know. You can always follow Blue Peg Pink Peg. I do show up there occasionally. I have a modest I have a Twitter account. PK Speaks the True, but just understand that's where I mostly. Make political comments.
Speak the truth.
Yeah, it's all about politics for the most part. I don't talk about board games there, but I'm on Board Game Geek. I participate in the guild at Blue Peg Pink Peg. I moderate the guild actually, and but you can always get in touch with me through Blue Peg Pink Peg. And if you're a creator and you want me to help promote you or help you have any questions or anything, I'm always happy to pitch in with creators. I love the community and I love to support it. So don't hesitate to reach out. If there's anything I can do to help you in some small way, then I'm happy to do it. I've done this for a long time. I know a lot about it, and I can maybe give you a few pointers here and there if you're looking for them. Both good and I will speak the truth. I'll tell you the good and the bad. But yeah, that's about it. I am always happy to meet new and exciting people. So feel free to reach out.
Thank you, and thank you so much for joining me. You're one of my idols in this podcasting hobby,
Well, that's so kind of you.
It was nice to talk to you finally.
Yeah, indeed, it was. It was great to talk to you, man. I count you. I'm glad now that we've spoken. I can count you as a friend. Anytime that if ever we find ourselves in the same place, games will be played. Because if we were, I promise this. If we were close to each other, we would be part of each other's game groups. I would love playing.
Definitely.
Yeah, excellent, man.
Yes, totally agree with that.
Yes.
All right. Oh, so thank you and bye bye.
Thanks, man.
Thank you for listening. You can find this podcast from SoundCloud with username Mitä Pelataan. You can also find the podcast from Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Should be in Amazon Podcasts also at some point. And it should be found anywhere you listen to your podcasts. You can find me from Instagram and Twitter with username Mitä Pelataan. There's a page in Facebook, Mitä Pelata. And you can just search by Mitä Pelataan and you should find me from many places. I have a blog, mitapelataan.wordpress.com, where you can find information about this channel and all the links to related media. You should be able to find me from YouTube as well by searching Mitä pelataan. You can send me email to mitapelataan@gmail.com. There's also a guild in Boardgame Geek number 3321. Interact in any way you can, comment anything, up to you, but interact with me please. And if you listen this far, please leave a review, subscribe so that people find out about this podcast. And one more time, thank you for listening, and bye bye. The music used in this series was Nightwalker by Sentient Pulse. Thank you for that.